You are listening to Comedy Club for Kids presents Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense, Radio Nonsense. Tepid biscuits to you, and welcome to a whole brand new, sparkly, shiny, weirdly smelling, dancing season of Radio Nonsense. Wait, hang on. Why is it weirdly smelling? What is that? Ah, no, someone's left an old gone-off hippo on it. Excuse me? Whose hippo is this? Pirate Steve, is this yours? Ah, no. Okay. Scary Helen, is it yours? No! Okay, Ron Pickles, is it yours? Snuggle. Oh, well, okay, if no one will own up to it, I'll have to leave it there for now, and maybe it'll go away of its own accord, I can only hope. Oh, it smells really bad, though, like if farts were crispy. Ugh. So, anyway, welcome to Radio Nonsense, the official Comedy Club for Kids podcast that is suitable for everyone of all ages from -7 to 8 million and 6 years old. But it is not suitable, I have to tell you this for health and safety reasons, for anyone who has said the words mumbo jumbo in the last hour or so. As I said, that's for safety reasons. You should probably, if you have said it, just let it go down for a little bit before you tune into this show, or it could cause some upset. I've just realised I did say it, so now I'm going to have to go away for an hour before anything goes too wrong. Oh dear, I can already feel my knees melting a bit. Hang on just a second. That's better. Managed to save all of my knees. Yes, all of them. So as I was saying, just make sure you definitely haven't said mumbo jumbo before tuning into the... Oh, no. Okay, sorry everyone. Hang on a bit. Right, sorry about that. You can't be too safe and secure about these things. We did a health and safety assessment before starting this season, as I was trying to say, and Magical Gavin, when running through phrases that may be a problem, he said mumbo jumbo before we ran a trial episode, and all 6 of his knees melted. I had to spend the whole afternoon collecting them in a bucket. It was awful. Oh, for goodness sake. It's okay, I won't do it again. How is that hippo still here? It smells like if someone did a sick in a bin and then made your uncle point at it. Ugh. So, hello, sorry. Start again. Welcome back to the new season of the Radio Nonsense podcast. I'm still Tiernan, as apparently the doctor says there's nothing I can do about that, but he did recommend I try wearing some different hats now and again to see if it would help. Thank you so much for all your messages that you've sent while we've been away, asking that we do more of these podcasts and putting lovely, lovely reviews on Apple Podcasts. Most recently, we had a nice one from Hungry Shark World Pro, and I'm so chuffed that you listen, Hungry Shark World Pro. I'm not even sure how hungry a shark you have to be the world pro at it, but I do hope that now you've got your title, you've been able to have a rest and a sandwich. I hope you've all been okay, really, during these even more staying at home times, because I'm aware it's not been easy, has it? It's probably been a bit weird and probably a bit boring. And one tip that I could give you for being stuck at home for so long is that you could try closing your eyes and then moving all your furniture and everything in your room all around, right? But you got your eyes closed, so you don't know where you're putting it, and then when you open your eyes you can pretend you're in someone else's home and you don't know where anything is. And then if your pudgy tired lampposts, grown-ups, if they ask you what you're doing and can you tidy your room, you can just say, this isn't my room, I'm just visiting. And who are you? Do you live here? Could you let me know where the bathroom is, please? It will be a lot of fun for a whole 7.5 minutes, I promise. Another way to cheer you up, though, of course, is this podcast. Hooray! There are going to be a number of new episodes to keep you entertained over the next few weeks. However, to make more of these, we need you to send in more questions for me to ask comedians the answers for. So, if you do have anything you need to urgently get an answer about, then please get your nearest pudgy-tired grown-up, to help you send them in to us at podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk. And that's the number 4, not the word 4, or someone shouting it during golf. The more questions we get, the more episodes that you get. That's how it works. Also, the more stinky hippos we get, the more upset I get, because really, it smells like if a bottom died and then a skunk wore it as a crash helmet. So please don't send any more in. And can someone please take this one away? I think it's trying to wipe its nose on my shoes. Do hippos even have a nose? Ugh, I'm just going to try and ignore it, and hopefully it'll deal with itself. Okay, on to the important bit, for we have had some questions sent in, and I did find some comedians to answer them. So I am joined on the podcast today by Stuart Goldsmith, aka Stew Barney McGrew, aka Stew Classical Art of the 17th Century, aka Champion Spoon Balancer 1986, aka the only person who's never ever done a sneeze, not even once. Welcome, Stu. How are you?
I'm so glad to get a list of all of my actual credits for once. Very few people will point out all of those things before I arrive on a podcast. I'm really well. And I should point out, people don't appreciate how difficult spoon balancing is. Because if you think about it, when you balance something in the circus, if you balance something really high up and heavy, it's easy to balance because you've got loads of time to adjust underneath it. Balancing a teaspoon is nigh on impossible, and I deserve all the applause and praise that I get.
I absolutely 100% agree. And also, it was teaspoons. I know you started with ladles, didn't you? And then I think you gradually worked your way down.
I worked my way down. I'm trying to work on a tiny little toothpick at the moment. I'm doing a toothpick. At the moment, I can do a toothpick with a pea stuck in the top of it. But I'm trying to take the pea off. But frankly, just a toothpick on a pea took me the whole of last lockdown.
That is, I mean, there's a lot of dedication going on there, but I hope you achieve it, because I think once you do it, then who knows what you'll be able to do with that in future. You might be able to, carry fleas around in a sort of comfortable travel manner. I'm trying to think what else you could do with a pea on a toothpick.
Mainly,
a lot of uses.
I've really only got one goal with the toothpick balancing on the nose, which is just to prove to kids that they're stupid because they can't do it. So if I manage to do that, then I'll be satisfied, because there'll be kids listening to this now, I know, who are 6. And you've heard me say this before, Tiernan. When you're 6, it's an exciting time to be alive. But when you're 7, you're an idiot, but you don't know that you're an idiot. And that's one of the... I mean, there might be people listening to this now who are thinking, I'm 7, but I'm not an idiot, which is just sad because they don't even know. So my goal throughout life has always been to do a load of stuff and practice a load of incredible things that children can't do in order to prove to them that they should sit down, be quiet, and stop bothering me.
That's an absolutely amazing task. I wish you all the success with it, because I mean, children really need to know how just ridiculously silly they are.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I think that is one way forward. Is that what you're spending time doing? Because obviously we're all stuck at home at the moment. I wonder if that's what you've spent a lot of your time doing right now, is just finding new and amazing ways to make children feel absolutely ridiculous.
To make them feel inadequate, if I can, yeah, of course. I think, to be honest, I'm spending a lot of time homeschooling at the moment. My son Boutros is nearly 5, and that's a very dangerous thing. I mean, he doesn't even know that he isn't even an idiot yet. It's very confusing.
Wow.
But he's a good little lad, and I have been trying to stop him teaching his younger sister all manner of rude things to call me, because they've recently started calling me a party pooper. And the problem is they're using it perfectly accurately. I think they don't know what it means, and they're just saying it because it's got the word poop in it. And we all enjoy saying that. But as you know, Tiernan, a party pooper is someone who spoils someone's party. So if one of them runs in and calls me a poohead, I say, I'm not a poohead. And then the other one will back the first one up and say, don't be such a party pooper. And I'm like, well, fair play. You are using that correctly.
Wow. I should just check that a party pooper is someone who ruins someone's party. Do they ruin it by pooping at it?
I don't know. I've never understood. I imagine that's possible. But I think there's probably several ways to poop a party. One of the most immediate and obvious is almost certainly to walk into the party and poop within the party. You could possibly
would really
also
ruin it, Stu.
Yeah, you could. You could poop on the way into the party. You could lay a poop on the way out as a sort of trap, like a little pooey minefield for people when they left the party. Or you could
in a party bag, perhaps.
In a party bag. I mean, maybe
bags,
that is the origin of party pooper. That at the end of the party, everyone goes, "Oh, I've got a lovely party bag here," and you put your hand around that. I think the cake's still warm. Oh no, tragic.
It's a really horrible thing to do, actually, and it's quite a vicious accusation that you are a party pooper. I mean, presumably you've had birthday parties for your kids. Did you poop at any of them?
I don't remember pooping at any of them, but to be honest, they're all such a blur. You know what it's like. A party for a 4-year-old is absolute carnage. You look up, people are clinging off your ears, dangling off your face. The human jaw can support the weight of 3 adult monkeys. I don't know if you're aware of that. True fact. But I reckon I can dangle about 6 children from my lower teeth. So I'm definitely the sort of parent that gets stuck right in at a birthday party, and I always end up just peeling children off me, throwing them across the room, and then they keep coming back. As soon as you identify yourself as someone that it's fun to mess with, it's always my first mistake. Then goodness knows. I mean, because of the lockdown, he's going to be having his 5th birthday party fairly soon, and we're not able to get together with the same amount of children as we normally would. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to do a thing where we take him round the neighbourhood and we ask all his friends to put little signs wishing him a happy birthday in their windows. So he's got some things to discover. We could make a little map. It's possible, though, that I could poop even that party by sneaking round the night before and pooping outside the front doors of all of his friends.
That would be an incredibly sneaky plan. And I think he'd enjoy it, actually, if you manage to, there comes a point, obviously the first couple of times it's disgusting, but then by this sort of 7th, 8th, it's actually impressive and becomes quite hilarious. If you manage to get around the entire neighbourhood, I mean, that's applaud-worthy.
Yes, then you're not just a party pooper, you're an entire city pooper.
Well, exactly. And I think that's something that we all hope to achieve one day. And may I also suggest, actually, that, for a kid's party, if you can hang monkeys off your chin, why not do that? I think there's no rules on how many monkeys you can have at your home at the moment.
No, that's true. They're
and I think
outside
that would be really
of the guidelines.
entertaining.
Yeah, you could take an
Absolutely.
infinite number of monkeys if you fancied and start dangling them off your face one by one. We've got a little game. It's sort of a version of Kaplunk, if that means anything to you. It's a tree, and it's like a plastic shell of a tree, and you stick little branches through it, little kind of spiky branches go through little holes in the side of the tree, and then you drop tiny little monkey toys, little about inch-high monkeys you drop into them, and then you pull them out. I reckon I could get about 150 of them dangling off my jaw, no problem.
I really hope this is your next task after the toothpick and pee scenario. And I'm very excited by the results.
For it to be up to the level of one of my famous circus tricks, I would need to be balancing the monkeys on top of each other, 150 high, a stack of 150 monkeys, which, if you could get them to hold on to each other, would, as I pointed out earlier on, become easier.
I believe in you, Stu. I believe that this is your true destiny.
Tiernan, it's so good that someone believes in me. The children don't care for me at all. My daughter is 2 years old and she's only said "I love you, Daddy" 3 times in her entire life.
Was it all to get stuff?
Was it all because she wanted something? It was to get stuff. Although now I'm thinking back on it, it may well have been to get stuff. Yes, I get called a poo head far more often than I'm told. That anyone, or I get the impression that anyone has any love for or respect for me.
I should just, because a lot of listeners to this are children, so you have no idea what it's
children
have to deal with yourselves.
You didn't tell me.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
that.
Stu. Oh. But it's okay, Stu, because they now know that they're all idiots, so it's fine.
Okay, well, there is that, I suppose.
I just wanted to give an example because you're saying that you dealt with that. My daughter at the moment, her favourite thing, she's 2 3/4, as she will tell everyone on the planet many times over. Her favourite thing at the moment is to wait until the radiator's on and then pull her trousers down, put her bum on the radiator and shout, "Hot bum, hot bum, hot bum," endlessly.
Let's just pause the recording, Tim, and I'm going to run off and try that now. That was absolutely incredible. I've got to tell you, my respect to your daughter there, Tiernan. What an inventor she is.
Have you got an incredibly hot bum?
It's so hot. I've only just recently, the pause there took about 20 minutes of real time where I came back and had to dip my bum. As you probably heard the sort of hissing noise as I dipped my very hot bum in a bath full of cold water. So I'm pleased to have recovered now, but what a rush.
Wow. Well, I'm glad it's worked out for you. Maybe I should get her to take it to Dragon's Den or something. I think maybe we could have this as a new invention that everyone around the country could be trying a hot bum.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think the Dragon's Den people would go for it. I don't see how you could make any money out of it. But perhaps if you had a travelling radiator on wheels, you could wheel it up outside people's houses, and you could in the street, like the rag and bone people of old, you could shout "hot bum," and then people would hear you and they'd run out of their houses. Yes, like the naughty ice cream people who like to play horrendous music at top volume in order to make sales to people who are absolute city blocks away from them. The lone cry, "hot bum," and people would be like, "Daddy, can we go and warm our bums on the radiator?" No, darling, I'm afraid that noise means he's turning off the radiator.
Oh, what a beautiful image. I should also just suggest to listeners that you shouldn't necessarily try hot bum with the aforementioned party pooping. I think the combination of the two would be rather horrific.
It would be stinky and unpleasant for everybody.
Yeah, let's not have that. I was going to ask you, one of the things I've been, ask all the guests on the last season of the show really was that a tip for being stuck indoors at home, but already you've given us balancing monkeys, balancing toothpicks on sticks, party people. We've got quite a lot from you, but I didn't know if there's anything in particular, Stu, that you've been doing to entertain yourself or the family over the past few months?
What have we been doing? One of our things we like doing is building dens. So we've got a big old, very tired and saggy sofa that we can't. It's in 3 sections, and we can't ever throw it away because it's just so good for building dens. So you've got cushions, which are, I say cushions, they're sort of 1.5 meter square enormo things that form really good walls of stuff. We saw. I briefly considered buying my son for his birthday one of these kits of, you get these little kind of, they look like tennis balls with lots of holes in, and then you buy sticks that fit into the holes, and you build this whole kind of den kit and chuck a blanket over it. And wow. I thought, we just don't need one of them because there's 30 cushions down there. And then the other thing we've been doing is I've been teaching my son the different dodges from when he absolutely leathers me with a cushion. This is a thing I said to him in passing. I said, come on, mate, come over here. I'm going to absolutely leather you with this cushion. And now he thinks that's what that game is called. He's like, Daddy, I'm going to leather you. Okie dokie. So he throws cushions at me, and we've established there are 6 main dodges, right? So the first one is the sidestep. So he chucks a cushion at me, I sidestep, or I step briefly to the other side. Very easy. Those are the first 1 or 2, wow, depending on how you're counting.
That's very impressive. For the listeners, Stu just sort of demonstrated it. It looked really good.
Thanks, mate. The next, of course, is the duck. He throws a cushion at me and I duck. The next is the jump, which is very difficult to pull off, but very satisfying. If someone leathers a cushion at you, frisbee style, at your ankles, and you manage to jump over it at exactly the right time. Then the boof is the next one. This is my son's invention. The cushion is coming towards you, and you deflect it by boofing your fist straight into it. And if you get a good boof, you can actually direct it back towards the thrower of the cushion. And the 6th,
wow.
Let me ask you, Mr. Tin Duyeb, what do you think is the 6th method of evading attack from a cushion?
This is very tricky because you've covered so many bases already. I mean, the only thing I can almost think about is like a sort of offence is the best defence, where you just take it in the face, but you sort of hold it out.
Oh, option 6, stand there. Yes, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Because after a few attempts, it's like, well, this isn't doing anything. He's invulnerable.
Oh,
and then they
sort
give
of
up
wear
and run
them
away.
down over time. Yes, well, I think as parents, we've all tried that method of, your child's trying to tickle you, and you just stand there going, I'm not ticklish, and they keep going, and you just think, if I can just hold out pretending I'm not ticklish for long enough, then they'll give up, and then at the last minute they get you. That's good. I think what you've discovered there, Tiernan, is the 7th defence against cushions. The 6th is called the turtle, and what you do with the turtle is you simply turn round, curve your back and your bum together into a protective shield, and you effectively take the cushion on your back. So you sort of defend yourself in a turtle posture. But I think option 7 is take it in the face. I like that very much.
Well, also the turtle, if you had a hot bum at the same time, then you've got a lovely hot bum on a nice cushion.
Oh,
and
yes.
And
in fact, if you had heated up your bum at the hot bum, if you'd done one of them, run into the street and radiated your bum enough, then there's a chance, if you'd really gone for it, when the cushion came towards you, it would simply evaporate on contact with your bum.
It's incredible. I feel like there's a whole new world. I mean, what you've done here, Stu, is you and your children have discovered, a whole way to survive were you to wake up tomorrow and the world had turned into marshmallows. Because immediately you'd be the family that had a den and the ability to fend off all possible attackers.
Yes.
And none of the rest of us would be. You could live in a soft world.
I'm nothing if not a prepper. I do like to be prepared for things. And if that means having a load of marshmallows ready for the inevitable marshmallow invasion, then I am more than happy to welcome all comers. Come and join. I'll start calling myself King Mallow, I think. Come and join King Mallow's
nice name.
Marshmallow Protection Zone. And I've got a safe in the basement that is already full of marshmallows and penicillin and Bitcoin.
I will add that title to your introduction the next time I have to do one for you, most definitely. Stu, this is, I'm sure you know, this is an audio podcast. The listeners cannot see us.
What?
Because
hang on a minute, 2 things. 1, they can't see us. 2, there are listeners.
Yeah, that's it. Well, they listen, but I mean, who knows how they're trying to listen. They might be trying to listen with their eyes.
I thought we were just having a nice chat. Go on.
Oh, no, Stu. I don't want not a chat with you. I wouldn't have arranged this for any other reason. What a horrible idea.
Explain. They can't see us. So shall I?
They can't see us.
Does that mean there was no point in me dressing up in this incredible suit of armour?
Well, there is for my benefit. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm liking the way that the sort of light is glinting off all the points of the armour.
Thank you.
Very pleasing.
I've covered it in these sections from a mirror ball.
Yes, well, I did think it was very sort of disco armour, and I like it. And again, I think the enemy, were you to be attacked by whether they were holding marshmallows, pillows, hot buns, whatever it was, they would be so dazzled by your armour, they'd probably sort of have to strike a few moves.
I am nothing
at which
if
point
not
you could get
prepared.
them.
They call me the Disco
Yes,
Knight.
absolutely.
And look, if I flip this bit up, can you see that? Look, that's a little revolving
Whoa.
light there on the left side.
Oh, my
And if
goodness.
I flip that up on the right side, that's an ice cream holder. So, you know,
That's
I'm
beautiful.
absolutely ready.
This is just, listen, you're missing out on an awful lot here. Well, what is for their sake, obviously they can't see your armour, they can't see your incredible dodging pillow moves. I wondered if perhaps what you could give them is your favourite noise, like one of the noises that you love the most that you could share with them.
Yes, now I wondered about this. I have a number of noises. This is one of my favourite noises, and what it is it's a hum and a whistle at the same time. So I'm both humming and whistling. And what I like to imagine is this is the noise of a very 1950s style spacecraft, a UFO in the shape of a saucer. Looks a bit like an upside down jelly mould. I'll see if I can do it. Here we go. Hang on. Thank you.
That was amazing. That was a hum and a whistle at the same time. That was unbelievable. Is it a histle? A wum?
Let's call it a wum. Yeah.
A wum. But that's quite, and you're managing to both noise at the same time. That's
I
very
should point
impressive.
out it's a wum, but it's a WHUM. It's not just WUM.
Okay.
Let's not
Good.
get confused.
Good. No. Well, that was an amazing noise. Thank you for that, Stu. And the other thing that I need to ask you for is obviously this podcast is suitable for all ages except for 100-year-olds. The listeners know that that's my very strict rule. They're not allowed. 101 onwards, that's absolutely fine.
Oh, good.
Yaks also not allowed. But generally everyone else, it's suitable for everyone else. And I just want you to reassure them by if you could tell us a rude word that you will not be saying throughout the rest of the show.
I will not be saying beaver bums.
No, don't say that. That's
No,
horrific.
I wouldn't. There's no. I'm absolutely
Really?
not. I'm not going to say beaver bums on your podcast. I've got a lot of respect for your podcast. It's heard
Yeah,
as far
thank
afield
you.
as America and Australia, as I've understood it.
Apparently so, yeah.
Yeah, you don't
and
want
so
to say...
I think people in those countries specifically won't want to hear the words beaver bums.
No, completely. Absolutely right. No beavers, no bums, no beaver bums. That's always been my motto.
No.
In fact, that's my family motto. It's actually carved on my grandmother's headstone. No beaver
Really?
bums.
Is that...
Thank you.
Is that due to a historical event that happened involving a beaver's bum, or...
I think you know me better than to ask me about that, because I will end up,
do.
if I have to tell you that story, Tiernan, I will end up saying beaver bums at least once. And as I've established, I'm just going to go for a clean sweep on this podcast. 0 beaver bums.
That's fair. I won't ask you, and let's just make sure no one says beaver bums, not even once.
Good.
Thank you, Stu. Thank you very much. So look, here, the reason I've got you here in your shining, wonderful dancey suit of armour is that we have been sent questions this week from Agatha Molyneux, which I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's a wonderfully fancy surname. Agatha
Is that all
Molyneux.
one word? Agatha Molyneux? That's a good web address. Is there an
it might be.
AgathaMolyneux.com? If you're the parent of Agatha Molyneux listening to this, try and purchase AgathaMolyneux.com. I've just got the feeling in my waters it'll come in useful one day.
It's very pleasing to say out loud, isn't it? Agatha Molyneux.
Agatha Molyneux.
I feel like it could be a song in Mary Poppins. Agatha Molyneux, let us all go to the zoo.
Yeah, that's
Agatha
very nice. I
Molyneux.
like it in a kind of a...
Don't
I
just
feel
have one apple, but two.
It's sort of like
yeah.
saying hello and goodbye to someone at the same time. Maybe it'd be a good word to say as you walked past someone that you didn't want to stop and talk to. Agatha Molyneux.
That's beautiful. Yes, well, I hope Agatha Molyneux, I hope you're enjoying all the different uses for your name. And Agatha is age 9 and she is in Edinburgh, and she sent us 4 questions. I should add at the end of every single one of these questions, she has put 3 question marks, right? So she really needs to know the answer.
So these are
these
important
big
questions. These are like, she's not just saying, what colour is the sky? She's saying, what colour is the sky? That kind of
Yes,
thing.
these are big. These are important, Stu. We have to answer these questions. So I'm going to give them to you one by one. They're all quite big. Take your time.
Okay.
Question number 1 from Agatha Molyneux is, why are there no more flying pigs?
Gosh, she is tense, isn't she? First thing, take a chill pill. Relax, Agatha Molyneux. Just put your feet up if you can. Draw yourself a bath and then colour it in. Why are there no... Tell me the question again. Why are there no more flying pigs?
Why are there no more flying pigs? Yeah.
Well, that is a tricky question, isn't it? Because, of course, that question presupposes that there were once flying pigs. And I don't think I've ever seen one. Have you ever seen one?
Well, I haven't, but if there aren't any flying pigs anymore, when did they might have stopped
Maybe
flying
she's
before
seen some.
I could see them.
Where does she live? She lives in Edinburgh. That's a famously magical city, isn't it? Lots of windy spires and spells and so on. So presumably at some point in Edinburgh there were some flying pigs, and now Agatha Molyneux has failed to see any further flying pigs. I mean, my first instinct is perhaps it's you, Agatha Molyneux. Maybe they're scared of you and they're hiding from you because your name sounds like a spell.
That's a very good point. I mean, it's also worth pointing out she is age 9, but I don't know how long she's been 9 for. And she could have been 9 for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yes. Oh, maybe she's the famous Edinburgh tiny witch, Agatha Molyneux. It all falls into place now. So yes, my answer then to that question would be stop doing all of this really aggressive magic at a variety of farmyard animals, and maybe the flying pigs will return and peep in at your window, and you could feed them a little apple or a sugar lump or what else do pigs like? Poop.
Probably poop, yeah, probably party pooping. And I mean, I assume, Stu, that based on your theory, they're probably just migrated for now, haven't they? Maybe they've gone south.
Oh, maybe they've migrated. That's a good idea, yes. Why are there no more flying pigs this month? And it'll be because they've migrated. Now, where would a flying pig migrate to? What sort of environment does a pig like? They like to roll around in mud, I suppose, maybe somewhere like the jungles of Bolivia, somewhere nice and warm, with a nice muddy floor. And I think that sounds fun, and a nice kind of rough palm tree that they could scratch up against. They could itch their flanks against a palm tree, and
sounds great.
Maybe they could have someone there, just a single pig handler per 100 pigs to ruffle their feathers from time to time.
That sounds lovely. I think there's a high chance they wouldn't go to anywhere with ham in the name, so probably not to Hampstead or Hamburg or anywhere like that. I think they'd avoid that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yes, Porkleby-on-Thames. They wouldn't go there, would they? You wouldn't find them. Yeah. You would do 3 more.
Pigsville. They wouldn't do. They wouldn't go there. They wouldn't do Pigsty here.
They wouldn't go to Oinktario.
Yeah.
They wouldn't go to Trufflesbury.
I mean, there's a lot of places they won't go to. That's what we've.
You wouldn't find one in Boreham Wood.
Oh, Stu! No, you wouldn't. Very impressive.
I hate puns.
Very good work.
I hate puns. I've just done a double. Boreham Wood, ladies and jelly spoons.
Stu, it wasn't a pun. You were naming places pigs won't go, and we all know that you're an expert in such things. So
thank you.
I won't question it. Okay, well, I think we succinctly answered that for Agatha Molyneux. That's why there are no more flying pigs.
Before we move on from this one, can I just ask or indeed recommend that Agatha Molyneux picks up a magic wand, points it at someone or something, and says, Agatha Molyneux, and see what happens and get back to you. If you could email the podcast, please, at this is the email address of the podcast at the email address of the podcast.com.
Yes, please do that, Agatha Molyneux.
Have I guessed that right, Tiernan? Is that the right email address? Because I did guess.
It's podcast. I mean, it was close. It was podcast at Comedy Club for Kids, for kids.co.uk. So
Comedy Club for Kids, for kids?
No, I'm saying the 4 again. So it's Comedy Club for kids.co.uk, but with the number 4 instead of someone like shouting 4 because they're playing golf or like 4, or like.
I always thought this was the Comedy Club and it had 4 kids.
There's also just 4 kids that are allowed to listen to this. Yeah. And if any more listen to it,
then
happens?
I
lose my
Does
license.
It burst?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it explodes. Yeah, it's quite messy, actually. So I think Agatha Molyneux is now one of those kids.
Do your research,
so that means
Agatha
another
Molyneux.
one had to leave. Yeah.
Use your name as a spell. Get in touch and let us know what happens.
And just out of interest, Agatha, if whatever you're like doing the spell out gets wings, why not just send them to me with your message rather than email?
Perfect. And that email address again is Agatha Molyneux at 444-4kids for Comedy Club for club dot comedy.
Agatha Molyneux. Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely correct. Thank you, Stu. Thanks for the promoting. You didn't need to do that as a guest, but I appreciate it.
Oh, that's quite all right. It's so difficult. My own email address, if anyone wants to get in touch with me, is at the word at, that's written out all one word, at the word at, and then that's in inverted commas, but that's all written out. So at the word at, and that's inverted commas, all one word, at, all one word, /dot//, that's all written out, .com.
That's fantastic. Brilliant. Well, I think everyone's going to get in touch straight away yes. So, question number 2 for you, Stu. We've got 3 more, so I think we need to give some answers out. Question number 2 is, and I'm going to read it again with the 3 question marks. Why do you need to jump around on the spot when you really need the bathroom?
Oh, yes, I see. This is why do you? This is an important question, and if anything, this is fewer question marks than I was expecting. But it's a great question. Let's think about this in its different bits. Normally, when I'm jumping around, when I need a wee, I'm sort of the other thing I do is I cross my legs. I don't know if that actually changes the shape of the bladder, which is the little bag in your tummy that the wee lives inside. I say lives inside, as far as I know, it's stored there. It isn't sentient wee. It doesn't have its own hopes and dreams. But maybe it does. Maybe it does because when it is eventually ejected from your person, it goes wee. So maybe that's where the name comes from. But you hop up and down, and you sort of jump. Is the jumping to distract yourself, or is the jumping to distract the wee? Hard to say, isn't it? Maybe you're trying to take your mind off needing a wee, and maybe you're trying to take your wee off needing a mind.
Whoa! I mean, that's very deep. I sometimes wonder, like, if by jumping you can move the wee to different places, so you can put some in your knees, maybe sort of some in your tum, or so, just to get it out of your bladder, so that you can separate it out before
it leaves the pressure on the bladder.
And then this
would make sense, doesn't it? Because we've all been eating peas or broccoli and known that there's ice cream for pudding, and we thought, I'm full, I can't eat any more peas and broccoli. Mummy, Daddy, I'm full. And they said, well, there's ice cream for pudding, and we've all explained that is a different compartment. So we do know that the human body is compartmentalised into different sections with different doors and types of doors. And it may well be that the wee is actually, if you jump around, yes, you're able to sort of slosh it into your left arm, and then you'd have a slightly wee arm, which would be a bit sticky and not great smelling. But if it meant that you didn't need to do a wee there and then, that's probably sensible. I probably do upwards of 130 wees a day. So,
wow.
I know. I
That's
spend most of my time jumping up and down. I've had 4 wees since we've started recording. But,
I was going to ask, because I haven't noticed, and you haven't jumped up and down to do any of them. But I guess that's because you.
Well, I'm in my office. You see, I've got a secret compartment here, the details of which I shan't go into.
So you're a bit like a mouse in that, because like mice just wee while they're running, don't they? And you never see mice jumping because they're always just running around.
We go back a long way, and I'm sure I told you that. They do. Mice are constantly either that, or we've both Googled the same silly facts about animals. Mice are constantly weeing as they walk around. They're just weeing. They have no bladder control, so they just walk around having a wee, walk around over there having a wee. Yeah, true story.
But do you think they wouldn't do that if they jumped around?
Well, a jumping
because
mouse
kangaroos
isn't a
don't
mouse,
do it,
is it?
do they?
A jumping mouse is a squirrel. So
yeah,
I think that's. Do squirrels wee all the time? I'd say probably.
Well, this is what I mean. It's jumping like rabbits and kangaroos jump around. I don't think they wheel. I'm wondering if the jumping helps them put off weeing.
Yes, I mean, I've never seen a kangaroo poo in my cornflakes, so it's entirely possible that if animals jump enough, they don't need to wee. I wonder if you spend your whole life jumping, can you never wee? Because to be honest, that'd be very efficient. Imagine if you never had to go for a wee. And people would say, oh, you're not a very convincing action hero. We never see you stop and have a wee. And you go, I'm too busy jumping, mate. And then you hop off down the road.
That would be amazing. You'd have difficulty. Like, there'd be a lot of things you couldn't do because you'd just be endlessly jumping. I think.
Yes. It'd be very hard to thread a needle, but you'd be good at making cocktails.
That's very true, isn't it? Yeah, that is very true, and very good at. I can't remember which number of your pillow dodges it was, but was it number 3?
Oh, the jump was number 4. Yeah,
number 4. Yeah. So I mean, you'd endlessly be avoiding anybody trying to attack your legs with a pillow, marshmallow, or
it's true. During the pillow game, during getting absolutely leathered with cushions, I very rarely need a wee. And actually, when we stop the game, that's when we go. Now let's do something. We need wees, and we run upstairs.
Yeah,
and have wees.
Well, there you go. So, Agatha Molyneux, it may well be the case that if you just keep jumping around forevermore, you'll never need to wee again. Cool. Right, number 3, Stuart, and I'll read this again with the 3 question marks. Why are clouds fluffy?
Why are clouds fluffy? I take issue, Agatha Molyneux, with your basic premise. Clouds are they fluffy? They're fluffy when you draw them, and they're fluffy when you make them out of cotton wool, but clouds themselves, this is my incredible fact about clouds. Clouds are made out of water, and when you see a big cloud, it's often made out of tons and tons and tons of water. So they're not, if you ever go on an aeroplane, when you go through the clouds, you get the sides of the plane get really wet because you're going through water, and so you end up inside this enormous wet thing, and it's when the cloud panics. That's when it rains, doesn't it? When a cloud goes, oh, I'm so full of water. Oh, God, I'm too full of water. Ah! And then it panics, and that's when it rains. And so I've taken the wrong angle on this question, haven't I? I've started doing educational stuff about something I barely understand myself.
Well, I mean, but I think you've got something in there because if clouds were properly fluffy, when a plane flew into them, it would just bounce off, or you would just stay in and have a hug.
I can think of nothing finer than being on a plane, flying through a cloud, and just getting stuck in a lovely fluffy cloud, and being able to get out and have a wander around, peer off the edge. Oh, that does.
I mean,
nice.
do you suppose there probably was a time, maybe in the days of flying pigs, where clouds were fluffy, and then after too many planes got stuck, too many birds wouldn't leave because they were having a snooze, clouds kind of thought, this isn't going to work because, they can't live here rent-free all the time.
Yes,
that's
true. That's true. One thing I would love to see is a cloud absolutely jammed full of birds and aeroplanes and ladders and trees and everything else just stuck there in the middle of the sky. What's the problem, Cloudy? Sorry, everyone, I was too fluffy. Everyone that comes through here doesn't want to leave, and now I'm getting incredibly heavy. And that's how you could be having a chat with it, because it'd be so weighed down with all the birds and cars and things, everything else that had bumped into it. It should be only about 2 foot hovering above the floor. So it's just sort of moving around,
So I think, if anything, we'll probably explain to Agatha Molyneux that clouds aren't fluffy, but there's a reason why they're not fluffy.
The clouds aren't fluffy, but there are a reason why they aren't fluffy. Yes, I suppose so. Yes, I think that'll probably have to do us. Agatha Molyneux!
No, I have to do it. Stu, could I share with you a really, really terrible joke about clouds that I have that I...
Oh, is this a joke that you made?
I've made it. It's terrible.
No.
It's about clouds. Okay. All right, fine.
Yeah, go on. Tell your joke. That is one of my favourite things to say, is someone goes, can I tell you a joke? I love saying no.
It's quite good. I'm sort of put off doing it now. But you're also... It's probably the right decision, because this joke is terrible. But how do clouds travel into town?
I'm going to see if I can guess it.
On.
On the cumulonimbus.
No, you got the answer. Very
yes!
good. That's very good. On the cumulonimbus. You were right to say no.
You cannot be serious.
Absolutely right to say no. Oh, and he just won't stop. Stu, we've got one last question.
He doesn't know any other names of clouds.
No, neither do I.
Something about
the
mackerel.
Fluffy ones.
I'm out.
No, the dotty ones, the wispy ones. Yeah, no, I don't think they have. Steve Cloud.
You cannot be cirrocumulus. It doesn't work.
No. It's good. Yeah, no. Okay, Stu, we've got question number 4. Let's finish this for Agatha Molyneux. This only got, unless I forgot to copy and paste 2 extra question marks. This one only seems to have 1 question mark, but we'll see.
Maybe she doesn't care about it.
Maybe not as bothered. Okay, why do humans have eyebrows?
Eyebrows. Well, I think most people have eyebrows because it's a sort of it's like an extra little sunshade over your eyes, isn't it? I remember at school I had a geography teacher whose eyebrows seemed to come out like a pair of hands, like little hairy hands coming out from above his eyes, and it just made him look kind of mysterious. I don't want to say terrifying, but certainly it shaded the rest of his face, and I often wondered what would happen if he went bald and he could simply comb them upwards over the top of his hair, so he could do like a sideways comb over, but from the front, from the eyebrows to the back.
So he'd have a hairy forehead. He'd have an entire sort of helmet of hair.
Yeah.
From eyebrows all the way to the back. And then if he grew a beard and let the beard grow really far, and he could almost sort of loop it into his nose hairs and then loop that into his eyebrows.
Yes.
He'd look like a werewolf.
You could connect all of the different bits of hair on your face and look really wolfy. That's good. Some people don't have eyebrows at all. Some people have eyebrows that are very light, so you don't see they're very light in colour. So they like to draw them on with pencil, which is quite fun, because if you start drawing on your face for your eyebrows, who knows where it'll end. That's interesting, isn't it? That some people use makeup and some people put lipstick on. And I always wonder, how do they know when to stop? Because it would be quite tempting once you start painting lipstick on your face just to sort of keep going up over your eyes.
Yeah.
Or our friend, comedian Andrew Bird, his beard starts about a centimetre under his eyes. Whenever I see something like that, I always think, it's incredible, isn't it? Just let it go and you'll be an incredibly wild, hairy face guy.
But that's what would happen to me if I didn't deal with certain bits of my beard. I would just have an entire face of hair, and then I sort of worry that I worry I'd get hoovered up for a start. I think that's definitely a worry. If you're all hair, you'd probably get caught in the hoover quite a few times.
That's true. Yes.
That's
you get
concerning.
Bits of, I don't know if you've read The Twits by Roald Dahl. That guy's got a big beard with bits of birds and worms and stuff stuck in it. I do wonder, what is it in your DNA that tells certain parts of your face to grow hair and other parts, don't grow hair there? Like, you very rarely grow hair in a sort of Mohican down the middle of your nose. You might occasionally see someone with a hairy nose, but it is a shame, because if a hairdresser as skilled as my guy if he had access to my face being completely covered in hair, think of the things you'd be able to do. You'd be able to like you could have pigtails coming out from below your eyes. You could have a nose beard. You could have, instead of eyebrows, you could have one moustache over each eye. One a handlebar, the other a sort of droopy, elderly...
Incredible. Eye moustaches. Do you know, Stu, I would get a maze shaved into my whole face and head, and then whenever you met someone, they'd have to try and work out how to, like, go around the maze.
Oh yes, or so many pokey out bits that it's only able to address you and look you in the eye from one specific angle, and your friends would know, so they'd be able to say, "Hey, Tiernan," and they'd just dodge down to the left and then diagonally up, and you'd be like, "All right, Barry," and other people just wouldn't be able to catch your eye. That'd be particularly good if you were a waiter and you worked in a busy bar, and the locals would know that they've got to lean down to the left, look up to the right, and they'd be like, "Can I have a glass of champagne, please?"
My goodness. So if anything, like, eyebrows aren't enough, is what we're saying here. Like, I feel like eyebrows are just sort of a beginning of a thought that doesn't continue long enough. We need full-on hair faces.
Full-on hair faces, complete hair, and hair faces, hair bodies, and I want us to be, I will not rest until we're a bunch of little puffballs, completely covered in hair, and then, once we're all like that, like lemmings, I think we should all jump in the sea and come out and really actually, it would only be when you came out of the sea that you were able to see people's actual shapes. And the rest of the time, like, have you seen an owl? You must have seen this. You know, an owl, if you sort of squeeze, if you kind of move all its feathers out of the way, an owl is a head, a tiny little body, and two incredibly long legs. Yeah. Look this up on the internet. It's absolutely astounding. So I think we'd look the same. Everybody would be a perfectly spherical hairball, and then we'd jump in the sea, we'd climb out, and you'd go, "My God, Tony, you're 5 feet taller than I am." And it's only then that you'd know.
And then there'd be a lovely moment when everyone on the beach all shook at the same time.
Can you imagine if everyone in the world was united and bonded in that one moment of coming out of the sea and going, and we'd shake the sea back into itself.
I think the world would be a more peaceful place. Do you know? I think it'd be more peaceful. I mean, vacuuming things would be difficult because I live with two people with long hair, and my entire life is spent thinking, should we have a vacuum or should I have a giant comb? Would it be easier with a giant comb? And that would be tricky. But I suppose if everyone was hairy, we wouldn't care about these things.
Yes, or one thing you could do is shave all of your hair off your face, off your body, and then run around in a pair of swimming trunks, but having covered yourself in glue. So every week, once a week, to clean the flat, you could run around it and do cartwheels and everything, just roll around, and then replace your own hair with everyone else's.
That's a great plan. Stu, you've got so many good plans. I'm really impressed. Just endlessly inventing things, and it's very useful. It's very useful having people like you around to make the world sort of function in a slightly easier
manner. Well, that's
manner.
Very kind of you. I'm going to spend the rest of the afternoon holding a stick, pointing it at my wall in my back garden, and shouting, "Agatha Molyneux!"
Yeah, I do hope so. Thank you so much for joining me, Stu, and thank you for answering all those questions for Agatha Molyneux, and hopefully we'll see you very soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much to Stuart Goldsmith for that, and very best of luck to him for his toothpick pea balancing act, all the party pooping, and of course the monkey carrying. Thank you also to Agatha Molyneux for her amazing questions, all the amounts of question marks that she used, and her magical skills, and I do hope that Stu's answers were sufficient enough for you. Please do let us know how you get on with both your spells, but also luring flying pigs back to Edinburgh. Good luck with all of that. That is all for this week's podcast, but there will be another next week, and then another after that, and then maybe some more, but only if you send in some questions for us. So please get those pudgy, tired grown-ups, to help you scribble your questions, whether they be about big things, small things, medium-sized things, eeny-weeny, teeny things, huge things, or things that look really big from one side, but then from the other side they don't actually exist, and it's really weird. Send in any of those questions to podcast@comedyclub4kids.co.uk, and I'll find a suitable silly person to answer them for you. Also, you could write us a lovely review on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Castbox, or any of the podcast apps, or just across your kitchen table in a permanent marker, as it'll really help other people who love nonsense to find us. And if your grown-ups fancy buying me and the Comedy Club for Kids team, including Pirate Steve, Scary Helen, and of course Ron Pickles, but not the Stinky Hippo, if you fancy buying us a coffee, then they can do that via the Acast supporter button on the app, or at ko-fi.com/Comedy Club for Kids. The Stinky Hippo has now gone, thankfully, but it still does really smell very funny around here, like very strange. It's a real pong. I don't know where he's gone. Oh, what's that the hippo's left me? Oh, that's nice. Is that a party bag? Oh, lovely. Let me just have a little look inside it. Oh, no. Oh, no. You have been listening to Comedy Club for Kids Presents. nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense, radio nonsense. It's the end.